Are you looking for great coastal living, but not something that's overhyped? Okay, so the town that I'm talking about in this video might not be that town that you see all over Instagrams, but if you happen to live in this town, everyone knows each other and everyone knows your name. It's comfortable and quaint, and this town offers luxurious coastal living without too much noise. So in this video, I'll be highlighting what I truly feel is a hidden gem on the South Shore of Boston. But before I jump into it, let me quickly introduce myself. I am Katie Norton, a realtor in Massachusetts, and this channel is all about helping you know what it's like living on the South Shore. So subscribe, and if you're thinking about moving to Boston or anywhere on the South Shore, please reach out. So where is this mystery town that I'm even talking about? Let me start by setting some context for you. So this channel is all about the South Shore of Boston, which always covers the towns that go along the southeast coast from Boston all the way down to the Cape. Usually I cover towns that are closer to Boston, like Quincy, Hingham, Cohasset, Milton, Hanover, Norwell. But today I'm going a little bit further south. So the place that I think you should really consider if you're looking for that coastal lifestyle is Duxbury, Massachusetts. So let me tell you a little bit about Duxbury. It's on the coast, so obviously it is a beach town. And because it's south of Boston and it's on the shore, it is part of the South Shore of Boston. It's a little bit further out than some of the other towns I typically talk about. It's about an hour away from Boston downtown, but it is still a full-blown suburb of Boston with all of the daily amenities that you might be looking for. With that said, it's still going to feel a little bit more quaint and have that small town feel than some of the places that are closer to the city. You might end up having to drive a few extra minutes to go to that same grocery store or some of those big box stores when you're living in Duxbury. And it's truly one of those places that people outside of Metro Boston don't even really know about. But the people that live there are very, very proud to live in Duxbury. Part of this Duxbury pride is definitely related to the history associated with Duxbury. It is one of the earliest settlements founded south of Boston in 1637. So actually, if you're living in a 19th century home, that's basically considered new construction in Duxbury. Just kidding, but you get the point. It's actually a fully modernized suburb of Boston, and there's plenty of large retailers and plenty of large employers that are located very close to Duxbury. As an example, Duxbury is located very close to the South Shore Hospital in Weymouth. This hospital has had a complete makeover. I don't know if that's the right word for hospitals, but you know what I'm getting at. And some of the most renowned doctors in the world are now starting to come to the South Shore Hospital in Weymouth. They're not just going to Boston anymore. They're actually coming south and setting up shop at the South Shore Hospital, and then they're going even further south to raise their families. In addition to the amazing hospitals and a few other large employers that we have in the area, we have a couple homegrown employers, and one of the biggest is Stop and Shop. We have their corporate headquarters located right here in Quincy, which is only about 20 miles north of Duxbury. So it's actually a pretty easy commute if you work for the corporate Stop and Shop. Another local homegrown employer is Ocean Spray Cranberries. The Ocean Spray corporate headquarters is actually located in Lakeville, which is about 30 miles west of Duxbury. Now let's talk about the school system in Duxbury. According to niche.com, it is the #1 school system in Plymouth County. It also is given an A by niche.com as an overall grade for how their school performs in accordance to other schools and other districts. The way Duxbury is run is very similar to a lot of the other school systems on the South Shore. Because the population is only 19,000, we have only 2 elementary schools in the whole town. These elementary schools cover kids from ages kindergarten all the way to grade 5, and then they all move into one middle school, and that's going to cover grades 6 through 8. Then they all move up to the Duxbury High School, which is going to cover grades 9 through 12. And the beautiful thing about Duxbury High School is it has just had a beautiful renovation in the past 10 years. You know your tax dollars are going to something good. They're all very proud of all their sports teams and their theater groups and all their clubs at Duxbury High School. And as I've always mentioned in all of my videos, there is a plethora of private schools located Boston and all the way South South Shore to the Cape. As you get further down the South Shore, of course, these schools are going to be a little bit closer to Boston, but you still have great access to some of these fabulous schools. Down in Duxbury, you might send your kids to Tabor Academy, which can be a boarding school or a day school, and it really has that maritime focus. So there are a lot of kids that go from Duxbury Middle School over to Tabor. Pretty close by is Thayer Academy, which is in Braintree. Again, carpooling and other situations are the way these kids get to these private schools. But if the family really wants them to go to a private school, there's plenty of places to go to. It's actually quite convenient. So let's talk about things to do in Duxbury. I'm going to make this really easy for you. When I think of Duxbury and things to do, I think of three things: beach, beach, and more beach. This town explodes in the summer with all kinds of people who come in mostly for day trips. I'll be honest, Duxbury Beach is this fabulous stretch of shoreline along the Duxbury coast, and what they've done that's so magnificent is they have private parking passes where you can drive on the beach. This is really unique to the South Shore. There is not a lot of beaches on the South Shore or even on the Cape and Islands, to be honest, where you can drive from your home in Boston, drive down Route 3 about an hour, and next thing you know, you are driving your car right onto the beach and you're setting up your cookout, your picnic. And the truth is, you can be there from breakfast time, grab your Dunkin' Donuts coffee, all the way till sunset, where you might be having a cookout and some beverages with some good friends. There's no time limit on how long you can be there. And the truth is, it's just a glorious place to go. Honestly, growing up here on the South Shore, it is one of my favorite memories is that every summer, at least once or twice a summer, my cousins would come visit. My parents would load us all in the car. And back then you could load a lot of kids in the car. I think some of us remember that. We would drive over to Duxbury Beach and we would just let the whole summer day go. And we would leave there sunburnt and sandy. My heart just is warm thinking about it, honestly. I can feel my happiness of having been at Duxbury Beach all day, a couple summer afternoons every year. So you may not live at Duxbury Beach, but anyone in Boston and South Shore definitely has memories of driving to Duxbury and going to Duxbury Beach. So the great thing about Duxbury is there are so many things to do within just a car ride. So as an example, if you head south about an hour and 10 minutes, you're going to land on the Cape, and you can stay on the Cape, you can go to the islands, you can do lots of things really, really close by. If you decide that your love is north in the mountains, you're talking 2 to 3 hours up north, and you are in a ski house and you're getting a completely different experience than Duxbury. One thing I do know about a lot of friends that live in Duxbury, because they have that summertime, that whole summer living in Duxbury, a lot of those guys will do a ski rental for the ski season. They might do a share house or they might do a full house. And that way, every weekend when the kids get out of school, or even just a group of friends, they all head north and they converge on their ski house on Friday, and they have a lot of fun until Sunday when they head back to Duxbury and they do their week all over again. Plenty to do in Western Mass, plenty to do in Boston. These are all things that are a car ride away from Duxbury. And before we wrap this video up, can't miss talking about the real estate in Duxbury. The average home price, according to Zillow.com, is $1,050,000. And these prices continue to appreciate year after year, having just increased almost 8% in the last year alone. One thing I do want to note about Duxbury is those historic homes that I alluded to earlier in this video. Like I mentioned, this town was established in 1637. Now, in the 18th and 19th century, there was a boom in the shipbuilding in this town. And so because of that boom and the jobs that were associated with, there was a ton of affluence that came to this area. Because of that affluence and stability, a lot of families moved to Duxbury, built up their beautiful colonials, and those colonials built in the 18th and 19th centuries are still standing today. There are a lot of efforts to preserve the character and the history of Duxbury. In addition to these historic homes and then the 18th and 19th century colonials, there are certainly a lot of new builds, there's townhomes being built, and there's condos. But the real part of Duxbury and the real pride of Duxbury is certainly all these historic homes and the beauty of them. If you drive down any of the streets in Duxbury, you can see the pride and ownership in all of these houses. It doesn't matter if you're in that medium home price of $1 million or you're in some of the larger mansion style homes that are in this $5, $6, $7, $8 million homes that are on the water in Duxbury Bay. Even the homes that are in the little less price point are going to have that pride of ownership. This is what makes Duxbury this beautiful, quaint, small town feel. And this is what draws people in from all over Boston and the Metro West to settle down in Duxbury. So if you're thinking about moving to Duxbury or any of the surrounding South Shore areas, please give me a call and I would love to help you out. So I hope this video has been helpful. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.